Okay, we are here. Hello, everyone. Hello, 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 hello. Good morning. Happy morning. If you are watching live, comment live. If you are watching the replay, definitely comment replay. Give me some hearts if you can hear me. I would love to know. I would love to know. Let me know where you are, where you tuning in from. Would love to know. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank y'all so much for being here, being in my world. Coach Jay here, and I'm here, y'all. I'm here. I am here. Oh, thank you, Robin. Let me pin your comment, girl. You just coming in with some fast. I love it. Thank you so much for believing. And this is the thing too. Like as a business coach, it took me a long time. It took me a long time to do digital products because I've always been like a coach that runs programs, right? And intensives and in-person things. But I finally leaned into digital products probably around late 2022 into 2023. And but most of that is just because I wanted to lean into what people needed. And I think that's just where we are in so many ways. Some women, just depends on what people need, right? Everybody just needs that, like that. I just need something to kind of pull me over the hump, Jay. Like literally, that's all I'm looking for. But I get it. I get it. So first of all, Robin, thank you for that shout out. Get that 2024 business bundle. It is so much value in that. And for some of you that need to get started, like need to ramp up, need to focus, that is an excellent bundle to start off with. Okay. Right now it's 40. The price it used to be $20.24. I do one kind of like a little bundle every year, but this one was really, really oh, thank you, Calista. Yeah, I just love y'all. I just love everybody. I love everybody. Thank y'all so much. And not thank you, oh my gosh, thank you for paying. No, it's literally like when people create digital products, sometimes they don't finish. Like, did y'all know that digital products or digital courses have a low, like below 5% completion rate? Or even like people will buy it and just let it sit. Like I can look in the system and see who has opened up their bundle. And you'll be surprised at the numbers. But these the same people that say, oh my gosh, I need help. Like the help is like literally like you can start here. You know what I'm saying? So which is very interesting because our attention spans are really short. They're really short. So one of the things that I committed to for the month of May um is I wanted to go live, number one, to just really get in touch with the community, to expand the community, to see exactly what you all need. Definitely put in the comments exactly like, hey Jay, this is what I need. And if there is something that you need, if you want me to create something, if you want me to teach something, you can comment here on this video, or you can definitely send me a message, like a DM, if you have something like you want to be a little incognito, which I understand sometimes would be like that. But feel free to sound off in the comment section, like, Jay, I would love for you to teach on this. Or Jay, please, kind of, can you skate on this? Can you talk about this? This would be great. And then that way I can consider some of these topics for trainings, master classes, and things of that nature. Okay. So let me say good morning to some people. OMG, Jessica, yes. And you know what, Jessica? That's kind of like my secret sauce when it comes down to courses. Like I want people to feel like they're getting one-on-ones from me. Like I want you to feel like you're getting a one-on-one. I think that's the difference. Like people tend to create courses and it's just real kind of dry, look dry. But I put a like how I'm doing these lives. I'm very smart. Okay. I'm very smart. I know that I get on here and I like to snatch edges, and some of y'all be like, oh my God, girl, you be getting me together. But I do know strategy. I do know strategy and I do know how to grow businesses. So I always tell people like, if you want to move the needle in your business, you're going to do something. Okay. Either you're going to pay for my program or you're going to get a course. If you just want to be motivated, you're going to stick to just lives. Because I do keep gates. Okay. I know everybody tell me, oh, no gatekeeping. I do keep gates. Okay. I love you. But I keep some gates, baby. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna be 100. I keep gates. Okay, let me see. So Jessica, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let me know like in depth if you want to expound on your experience with the digital lead her. That's our number one selling course. I did not get on here I'm not trying to fill up the whole live with, but it is free. So I love it. The lesson is coming. Don't get me wrong, baby. We are going to dive in. Okay. Um oh gosh, let me I'm scrolling down, y'all. Bay says, do you only help women who already have a business? So this is my rule of thumb. Okay. How can I put this? You got to have a skill. I have helped beginners. Okay. I have helped beginners. Now this is in the matriarch. It is 4 figures, mid on the higher end of the 4 figures. Okay. You got to come in there. You can't be coming in there and just be like, oh, I'm just going to look around and see. I'm just starting. No, you got to come in and you got to run. Okay. You got to run. I have helped beginners from 0 to 18,000. I have helped beginners from 0 to, making 15,000 in 90 days. Like I've done that, but the person ran. They didn't think. They didn't overthink. Okay. So to answer your question, it's kind of a twofold. If you have zero idea what you want to do, like I'm not here to give you ideas. You got to already know what you want to do, and you got to have some experience in what you have done. Okay, even if it was pro bono, I'm cool with that. But if your nervous system is sensitive and you get in and you just want to look around and you know that you gotta, and this is for future, this is for anybody, because babe, that's a great question because I get that question all the time. It is highlighted on my brochure on my honeybook brochure. So if that's something that you're interested in, you want to learn more about the matriarch, I do have a brochure that I can send to you via email. So just email me, DM me your email address and I can send it to you. And that way you can look in depth, like case studies and things like that we have been able to help our clients with. Okay. And then it gives you a better sense of like, okay, this is what she does. So thank you for that question. No worries. Latif, thank you. Well, she said, as you should. As Robert said, we got to, like Calista said, some gates got to be kept. Yeah. You know, I just, yeah, I gotta, some gates, and that's cool if people, we're not gatekeeping over here. Okay, we're going over there, baby, because maybe some folk okay with that. Amen. Somebody. Okay, here we go. I gotta bring this up because I think we need to get focused. Okay. We need to get focused. Amen, babe. Amen. Right. Feel free also to tag a business bestie or three in this live, or you can send it to via DM, or you can share it on your page, whichever floats your boat. This is not a requirement, but I would love for you to get the word out. We're growing over here, but we also want to grow organically where we're reaching the right people. So if you're here and you resonate with this message and you resonate with my content and you're like, girl, I know about 5 people that need to hear about you, that's what I want. I want people that are in alignment too. Okay. So it's just better that way because you need people to think the same, but in regards to wanting to be more self-sufficient and wanting to deepen their skill sets so they can grow their own lives. I think that's very, very, very important. So definitely feel free to tag some people. Feel free to send through DMs and say, girl, look at this. This is my coach, or this is the coach I follow. That will greatly help in our numbers. Okay. Okay. So we got to get focused, right? So we have been really focusing in on mindset. We've been focusing on creating space for ourselves to succeed. We talked everything from relationships to to strategies, and we talked about dating, and we talked about all these things. But when it comes down to the actual implementation of what you're supposed to do in order to get results and outcomes, a lot of times women struggle with that. And the thing that I'm surrounding this around is revenue generating activities. Okay. Revenue generating activities is something that I feel that a lot of women have issues with. And when we start talking about revenue generating activities, a lot of women kind of buckle. They're like, oh, girl, I don't know. Or they do it just a little bit. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. Avoiding conflict, avoiding problems, avoiding the bridge, right? That's going to get you to the other side is going to keep you in a stagnant place or spiral you down. Because the longer you sit at where you are in mediocrity, you're going to find yourself frustrated, and quitting is going to get easier and easier for you. Some of y'all really need to reconnect to your why. I think you've lost track of that. If your why was your children, you probably need to change that, because if the children didn't get you out of bed and the children are not pushing you and inspiring you to get to the next level, then you probably need to choose another why. If your job and your boss was not enough to get you out of bed and to give you a push towards the direction of wealth-generating life, then you probably need to choose another why. You need to find another why that's going to push you to the next step. Why am I doing this? Why am I, investing in myself? Why am I pushing this? Why am I pushing that? The why is what's keeping you going. And the why is always going to be in the state of joy. I didn't say a state of fun. It's a state of joy. Like this right here, getting me up to do a live at 8 o'clock or around 8 o'clock in the morning every single day for the month of May. What is my why for doing that? You see what I'm saying? There's a reason why a commitment is in place. There's a reason. However, what is yours? What is your reason for even getting on this live? I would love to know. Put in the comments. What's your reason for showing up here today? What is your reason for showing up, period? because it's bigger than creating a business plan. It's bigger than creating a sales plan. It's bigger than getting an LLC. What is your reason for waking up each day and saying to yourself, I'm really ready to move the needle forward in my business or move the needle forward in my life? But what is that why? When that is the why, then the because follows that. The effect follows that is what I'm saying. Because of this, because of my why, then I need to do this. But it's got to be a consistent why. It's a why that's evergreen. And maybe it needs tweaking, maybe it needs expanding, maybe it needs to graduate at different times because you are going to graduate wise. The same why that got you started 4 years ago or pre-pandemic or post-pandemic right after the is going to sometimes the why has to change in 2024 when it's regarding inflation, when it's regarding or whatever they said is going on with the economy, because you got a lot of people giving up and going back to corporate or going back to the to reporting under somebody because their why expired. It wasn't enough. The why expired. Your whys can expire. I love it. I love it, Robin. I love it. She's like, and also, your why expires. And sometimes you got to find a new why. I'm giving you permission. If you need somebody to give you permission today to choose another why, what like today I'm giving you that space. I need you to like hold, hone in on it. What is my why now? Because the why that I had was not enough to keep me in the game. I'm actually getting weary. I'm actually getting tired. I'm actually getting, fatigued. I'm actually running out of creative steam. So if my why is not enough, then do I choose another one? Or do I just go back to the default, which was my programming that kept me in the system in the first place? Because the why wasn't strong enough. I got to choose a why that's strong enough to keep me in the game, even when the economy is shape shifting on me, even when people are telling me no, even when my family turns their back, even when my ex says that, I'm doing too much, even when I approach people and they tell me, no, we already good. We already got our budget set. I got to stay in the spirit of that why. Every morning I wake up, the why should move me from the bed to my laptop. Today is Sunday. Today is Sunday. It's the 20th almost. Tomorrow's the 20th. And we're looking at a new month in a week or so. But this month, do I give up if I haven't seen my month come to fruition per what I said on the first, that what I was going to do? What was going to be the goal for the month of May? And now that it's the 19th, are we still on track? You see what I'm saying? So if I'm not on track, do I give up on what I said I was going to do? I'm trying to give y'all tools, mental tools, so that you can start self-questioning and self-checking. I don't think we do that enough. And I don't think we even learn really how to do that. If I'm not seeing what I'm supposed to do or what I'm supposed to receive, and it's the 19th of the month, what now? Because I made I guess a jokey joke. I made a jokey joke this morning when it came down to queens. And I see, and I'm touching on this for a reason. I made a post about that this morning that, we have a tendency to call each other queens. We have to hear, uh, the whole queen endearment title, right? Hey queen, all this stuff, right? And I've never really subscribed to the label queen, and I'm gonna tell you why, because queens are women of war, and I don't fight, not anymore anyway. I don't fight. I'm too old for that. I ain't even got the bandwidth, you know. And it's I'm looping this in because I think we need to really understand understand the word queen, right? So queens don't adhere to poverty. Queens are, in some essence, colonized. They're colonizers. I'm not talking about queens that they make by default because, they got a little blood from their great 6 times up grandmother. They got the blood brothers. No, I'm talking about queens they take over. See, we call ourselves labels to avoid the reality that we are in because we don't want to change it. We want to be where we are in our mediocrity and in our less than and be called something of supremacy. I guess Zoom was like, baby, let's give her some let's give her some fireworks. The timing was everything. Babe said timing, clock that. No, but seriously, and I think when I do my hands like that, it just does. I know that was so funny. But we we tend to call ourselves labels and things that avoid the work that we have to do on ourselves because we want to have this empowerment. We want to feel empowered, but empowered to do what? What are we empowering ourselves to do? I said queens are not paying rent. They're not. Queens are not paying cell phone bills. They're not. Queens are not making arrangements on their utility bills. They're just not. Queens are not working for somebody else. They're not. Queens are not engaging in 50-50 arguments. Queens don't send their children to public school. Children aren't paying for, queens don't fly commercial. People will get offended by that. People, first of all, it's a term of endearment. It's not a term of endearment. A queen is a woman who rules over a country. A queen is someone who rules over a country. You need something to make you feel better about yourself when this is not the title to do it. You a beautiful Black queen. No, I'm a beautiful Black woman. It's okay to call me a woman, and I'm all right with that. I am totally cool with that because queens it's a woman who is married to a king. That's another thing too. Your husband has to have land. He has to have some lordship. Kings are colonizers as well. I don't understand that. We got to understand that queens are of a ruling class. Oh, your crown, sis. I ain't got no crown. I don't have a crown. I don't own one of those. Because you know how savage queens are and were? Queens are savage. Savage. Look up historical context and historical events surrounding the king. I ain't talking about Queen Elizabeth. I'm talking about go back. And there are other queens too. You got Queen of Denmark, the Queen of, they used to kill. They used to behead. They would kill their own offspring. They just said what I just saw it. Will kill their own child to remain. They didn't. It didn't matter. The Great Crusades. Let's start there. Isabel, ain't that her name? The one that leased all these ships to Christopher Columbus and all them to go and find some Portugal. Please, y'all, come on. Set up to find the new world. Because there were different new worlds, okay? There were instances over history because people think that new world order and new world, all this stuff. This is new. This is like for this time. There was a new world that they were looking at back in the 1400s when they wanted to go to different lands and use Christianity, the diluted version from the Romans, to colonize people into believing a gospel that was not something they didn't originate, to control the minds of people. And it succeeded because 9% of the world's population is colonized. They have colonized 85% of the globe. They did a pretty good job, doggone job. And I think it's a whole case study, in my opinion, if you really want to hear what I have to think about it. I think it's a whole case study. Because how did 9% overrule and overpower and get their women and children, other conquered people, because it's just conquered lands, that's all, just conquered people. All this is conquered activity. Even down to businesses. This is conquered work. We're doing this to stay in a survival / thriving operation. Kristen said, yes, in Africa, they still have the colonizers' pictures in church. I think that's absolutely insane. And then to expect to go to a heaven where these people are, you say they're going to be. Are you kidding me? What? Anyway, so what does it have to do with revenue generating activities? Okay, so let me just tie this in because I think we need to really understand where we are. The America is the byproduct. Yes, Kristen, she said, seen in person. I'm telling you, it's really a trip. It's really a trip. Been there for sure. America is the byproduct of the Roman Empire. We know that, right? Okay. So with that being said, I told y'all America is the daughter of the West. Okay. It's a daughter of the West. It's a blueprint they use the Roman Empire blueprint to manage society, to overpower society. So this is why y'all are probably mad at the men as well, as especially Black men, because and I had a conversation with someone recently about this, is that a lot of Black men did not study. They didn't study. They didn't understand ruling classes. Some of them did. I'm talking about collectively. A lot of them did not understand and did not study ruling classes, which is why a lot of them are still stuck in conscious communities about racism. And this is why, no, this is about class. Even if you are of color and you're moving up, you'll still get maybe some closed doors on you, but at that level, you can navigate through spaces and get a yes. No matter. As you move up the ranks, getting what you desire becomes more and more dominant because you know how to overpower the racism conversation. Perpetually conquered. Thank you, Callista. Is this literally because there's no alignment to what they need to do next? So they go because of their innateness to power over something. They're seeing their women as rebellious, not understanding ruling class and energetics. They don't understand energetics. And I told a friend of mine, I said, women will naturally lay in their feminine if y'all would just lay in your masculine, but you don't want to do that. Your idea of femininity is making cookies and laying on our backs all day and pumping out babies that you can't take care of. Having a services model in your home. So with that being said, this is the reason why women just kind of mind their own business. Okay. But it also goes back to the queen conversation where we have women that are out here trying to figure out how to navigate through the fatigue and going through the emotional disturbances and the ups and downs when it comes down to, okay, so now that I'm out here, or yes, I might be married, but maybe my marriage is not ideal. I'm with somebody that I love, but at the same time, we're struggling financially, economically, or I'm a woman that's navigating by myself. I do want to marry at some point, but I know that right now I need to be able to stabilize my income and stabilize my business and stabilize my life. And if I have children, I got to make sure that I'm stabilizing this household, stabilizing our revenue streams, and then as well as giving my child or children a positive, nurturing experience, doing what I can as a mother so that I can prepare them for the world at some level. All of these things is ingrained in what are we focusing on? Are we focusing on trying to get equal with our whoever these people are over here, with our conquerors, or are we trying to level up through the classes, understanding the system, mastering the system so that ourselves and our children, if applicable, can have a much brighter future and outcome than the generations before us? But that's going to take you doing things that will put you in a situation where you're going to be alone, right? That you're going to have to understand, you're going to have some strong boundaries, okay? And you're going to have to understand that anybody that is not in alignment with the trajectory of wealth, they have to take a step back. These conversations, you have to normalize having conversations with people and letting them know that this is where my head is and I cannot participate in non-revenue generating activities and conversations that's not moving me up in class. Because we already know that the lower you are in the class system, the less access you have to resources and the more emotional that you are. Look at your algorithm. Your algorithm is going to tell you exactly what class it's speaking to. If a lot of your algorithm, if you look on social media, TikToks or whatever, and you got more information talking about the Diddy situation and a lot of celebrity gossip and a lot of tea, then you may be looking at, you're going in the wrong direction. Because my algorithm is my reality. You need to put that, you need to write that down. Your algorithm is your reality. I don't even know where that came from. That wasn't nowhere written down. Your algorithm is your reality. So all of this stuff talking about, oh my gosh, like, oh my gosh, that's why you got people, you will tell people, girl, did you see this? No, Grace seen that. Look at their life compared to yours. Now, if they are living in upscale places and making 70, 80,000, $100,000 months, and you're stuck in 3K, and she didn't see what you said and asked her about, her algorithm is probably a little bit more upgraded than yours. Okay. Your algorithm is telling you about 50-50 and all this other stuff. And we're mad at the country and we mad at the government. This is over here. This is why your algorithm and your life is not moving, because you're stuck in a reality that's telling you what to think. Look at your algorithm. It's going to tell you everything you need to know. It's going to tell you what to be concerned about. It's going to tell you what to think. It's going to tell you what your reality is, what reality you are living out. Your emotions and your mood is a reflection of the algorithm. So if you're arguing with everybody and mad at everybody, then it's probably because your algorithm is telling you to be mad at everybody. And this is why you don't get anything done, because you're too busy being mad at a reality that is not even in your immediate touch point. Like, it's literally imaginary. The algorithm is the manifestation of what is already in your mind, and it was because of curiosity. It started there. It started with curiosity to learn about why are men doing this, and why are relationships so bad, and what's going on with the government, and why Flint don't have any water, and da 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 da, all this stuff. So now you're going into spaces where you're trying to figure out why. Your reality hasn't even been taken care of yet. Like, your business is going downhill, but instead of you looking for courses and investing in things so that you can move the reality that you are in, you're trying to go into spaces and finding new realities to avoid the one that you need to improve. This is why a lot of times women are conflict avoidant. They're going over here to project themselves in a virtual reality. It's because they're lonely, because they have nobody else to talk to. Oh, I'm going over here to Bumble. When you already know that Bumble is full of people and full of individuals that really don't have the same mindset that you have. So you inject yourself into an emotional space when you haven't even taken care of your own self, because you're doing things on a need-based level because you don't want to take care of the problem here. A lot of times, like, we don't even understand, like, half our children can't even read. And instead of you taking care of that, my child cannot read. My child is performing on a below grade level. Let me tend to this. Let me go and find resources that will speak to the reality that I am living in, so that I can improve that reality, so that my children can actually understand what this world is about and get them ready and prepared for that world. Because if I'm building a business, who's going to take over? If my children cannot read, that means they can't read contracts. That means they cannot navigate and communicate properly. They cannot express and exercise problem solving and critical thinking skills. They're going to be in an arrested development state. But because I don't want to take out the time to focus in and make a list of resources and to gather my funding so that I can help my heir, because your child is going to be an heir, or they're going to help the heirs of another dynasty. You see, I didn't say family, dynasty. Because you're not preparing them to be an heir for you. So your children are having issues at school, and you're not, then are you running a business based on boredom? Just something to do? Or are you building a business based on a long-term permanent trajectory into another high-level ruling class? Because if that's the case, if you're running a business based on boredom, then it completely makes sense why you won't focus in on what's important right in front of you. That's a great question, Kristen. Thank you, Bay. Bay says, she said, that's why we're not queens. We don't kill our offspring. We educate them. We educate them to pass things down. Like you should be getting your children ready to eat in the next 10 years. They got to be able to eat. And if they're doing things like, oh, my child said that she wants to get a music degree. Is your child going to be able to code? Are they going to be able to do AI? Are they going to be able to take care of themselves in the next 10, 15 years? Are they going to be able to eat? They can do music in time. You can do music now. You got TikTok. You can get the word out about your music. But how are they going to feed themselves, Mom? Kristen said, question, why are people so fascinated with the Great Depression on social media right now and comparing now with then? So they call this time, Kristen, I've even heard people call this era, quote unquote, the Great Mental Depression. The Great Mental Depression is for basically people who want to avoid. Again, it just goes back to avoidance. Bam, I love that you said that. I'm going to pin that because I want to address that too. The great mental, and I told my clients this, I said, 2024, the theme is going to be mental health. Nope, I'm sorry. Let me go back. 2023, the theme was going to be mental health. And then we're going to move into 2024, was going to be all about health and wellness. Because people see that the mental health crisis, especially in Gen Z, is rising. Our children are probably the most depressed generation ever. And it's also, if you look up the stats, 1 in 3 in Gen Z generation are not working, or they're not in any post-secondary education program at all. So they're just at home doing nothing. They're playing video games. They're not even gaming for money. They're literally just passing time. And they are the most suicidal. So if you have a child that is in Gen Z generation and they have absolutely no ambition, that is a red flag, and you need to do something about that ASAP. If you say that your child don't want to do anything, I don't even know what they want to do. And I tell them, you have to do something. There is a reason why the children are the way that they are right now. A lot of them have given up because they don't see a future worth participating in. Because adults, and I've said this before on live, said adults have not done a good job with making the future brighter for our children. We have actually participated in doom and gloom and inner child healing. And that's also selfish when you come to think about it, because your needs need to be to get your children ready for the world. Then you go in and focus on your own needs. Get your children out so then you can focus on self. You got to learn and heal as you go. And the thing is that when children are raised in emotional spaces without the proper information, what happens is that they go on by way of environment. So to answer your question from my perspective, and what I'm saying, I'm not saying everything I'm saying is factual, but I definitely want you to do your own research. It is also about people have an obsession with mental health and the Great Depression and financial disdain because and this is what we know of, right? So when we talk about middle class conversations and poverty conversations, middle class are either in spaces where they have not grown up emotionally. This is why you have a lot of corporate executives say that, people just don't want to work anymore. They don't want to work. They don't want to work. That's very true in some regards, but then also people don't even know what they're working for because they've lost a sense of ambition. So naturally, when you in the Great Awakening, which is the era where we're in now, the age of Aquarius, where structures and all of these things are starting to shift, because now we're in stages and places where men and women don't even like each other, right? There, we already seeing that in full bloom. But also, people have an obsession of being cared about by people they don't know. So when they hear things like, oh, well, corporate America don't care about us. Of course they don't. But see, this is a byproduct of emotional instability. A lot of people did not understand systems and understanding that corporations are a game. You don't go in there thinking you about to clink and clank glasses in a system that can fire you and take your livelihood at any time, especially if you're not prepared for it. So they keep you dependent, and then they bring you into this fold of loyalty, and you become more loyal to that system than you do your own goals. Amen, somebody. So it's a lot of grieving. It's a lot of grieving going on right now. It's a lot of grieving because people thought that they were being cared about, and they're not. Just like they think the government is supposed to care about them. I've always said the government does not care about anything you have going on in your life. They really don't. And I'm not even being mean about it. That's just the way it's set up. But people are grieving a system that they thought had their back, and they don't. You know, they just don't. So the obsession over I wanted somebody don't care about me. So now, because they don't feel like the love from their family is not there, the love from their significant other is not there, the love from the government is not there. So now they don't have any meaning. They haven't attached themselves to their own personal meaning. They're attaching their meaning and their purpose to something outside of them. And when you do that, that's a dangerous place to be, because your identity and your livelihood and your life period is rooted in somebody else's viewpoint of view. So if you don't have a job, or you're working in spaces which you don't even like, and you're not working on your own personal projects, and you don't have a personal value system, of course you're going to go into a deep depression, because you're trying to find meaning in something, in a system, and it's called capitalism. This is why I tell women, like, a lot of times the reason why you're depressed and anxious and having all these fatigue issues and emotional issues is because you're trying to navigate through a capitalistic system. You can't be emotional over here. This is the West. Thank you, Calista. Systems are not humans. We can't expect care and concern from inanimate objects. I'm going to pin that, because that's it. Kat, are you talking about somebody else's deathbed, or are you a ghost? What are you talking about? She said, I found that 7 years ago when I was on my deathbed, and the company replaced me within 3 weeks. Kat, are you the person, or you came back to life? Where we at? Tell me, baby. I love it. I mean, I know this to be true, because I worked in HR, and I remember there were several instances where somebody passed away, and and people, they was ready, they put the job description back out there, like within a couple of days. Really, within a day. They found out, they let people know, and they were like, go ahead and draw a job description, and we got to replace this. And it's just operation. That's why I told y'all to study stoicism. I love that. Thank you, Kat, for sharing the testimony. They said my mother's job was ready to give her the boot of a stroke from that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is why I have Kristen said, this is why I have a slight issue when some pastors have an issue with women working or having to know a skill that they not know what time we're in. Kristen, I'm telling you, my father is a pastor. Okay, y'all know. Some of y'all don't know that. Some of y'all do. I came from the church environment. Grew up in Church of God in Christ, Pentecostal. Um, Raised in it. Okay, since baby, since before my mother pregnant with me going to. So I everything you talk about already. Yes. But I will say that a lot of men are very Mosaic and Old Testament bound. They're very rooted in that. That in itself, now this is where I don't understand about even the system when it comes down to the church, especially Black church, because what they preach is not even in relationship to the laws and the party that actually promotes that. So if you can keep people working, right? If you can keep people working in a system, but also you're driving babies in poverty, because we already know that the more that we see lower enterprise and lower businesses being built, what happens is they create a system of workers and they're birthing emotional babies. Emotional women create emotional households. And when I say emotional, I'm not talking about on a positive level. I'm talking about just a lot of arguing, a lot of meanness, a lot of hurt, a lot of trauma. All these things is spiraling, right? It's spiraling out of control. So these mothers create babies, and there are also a lot of broken homes. So pastors, depending on where they at, because if they're in a poor neighborhood, you're not going to have the same gospel as you're going to have in the rich, affluent neighborhoods. The Christian church in the hoods of the world is not going to have the same conversation as someone in a Christian church in an affluent neighborhood. The conversations are completely misaligned. If you can't preach the gospel over here as you would over here, you're going to have an outcome that's going to bring these people over into the affluent. And that's not where you want them to be. You want them to stay under a system. You got this over here staying above a system. A lot of people don't even want to hear that. Calista, I heard this white pastor say this, and when I tell you when he said this, I almost cracked my iPad in half. He said that, and I'm just gonna say what he said. Okay, I'm just gonna say what he said. He said that white people are already in the promised land. Black people, however, they preach the gospel as if they are still slaves in Egypt or going to the promised land. They're not quite there. There is no land of milk and honey flowing for them. And when he said that, I said, you know what? Okay. You might be right there. Because I can't preach the same thing over here. I can't talk to you about marriage principles, especially when the men are not working and they're not even in the church, period. But over here in a conservative environment, the men are in church, the men are in leadership roles. The men, you got half and half. You got a good, nice size amount. Families, whole families are going to the church. They are going to the church as a family. They're participating in the church system as a family. The conversations and the songs that they sing are even different. Thank you, Robin. So all these things are different than you would over here where everything is up the rough side and clean me and I'm a wretched undone. The testimonies over here, yes, babe, are going to always be about y'all keep me encouraged. But over here, you see the testimony. Oof. You see it. You don't have to be told the testimony. You can see them walking in the testimony. So that's why you got to talk differently over here. That's what we call like over here, because there's no culture, there's no system, there's no structure over here. You call these people queens because the only thing that they're heading over is their own time. And really not even that. You got to give them something to be optimistic and empowered so they can keep getting up in the morning. This is why you have to preach over here that suicide is sin. Because these people, if you really took that away from them, all these people, they would probably leave up out of here. But you got to keep them here to, and the fear is that they're going to go to hell if they do something. You know what I'm saying? You don't normalize therapy over here. You normalize therapy over there. You don't normalize medicinal treatments and you don't normalize it over here. You don't normalize empowerment over here. You normalize fear. You normalize miraculous and living wealthy and heaven bound and family systems and all that you preach over here. This is why I don't understand why, Black folk, I love us. But we vote for the party that keeps us unmarried. And I know that both parties are trash. I know this, but you're also in a system. So why would you vote for a party that wants to keep you under? I've never understood that. And nobody could ever tell me the reason why. And I said, oh, I think I know why. Because what happens is if you empower everybody over here, they stop coming. When you put knowledge in people that are quote unquote oppressed in their neighborhoods and oppressed in their zip codes, guess what happens? They get some knowledge and information, because this is the age of information. Let's just call that thing out there. This is the age of information. This is the age of information. And when it's the age of information and people start finding out about different things, and when you don't have answers to those questions, people begin to look outside of that system because you're not satisfying the need to grow. And when you keep people under a basic gospel, you keep them in a basic life. And this is why, come on. This is why the poor and the working poor, let me turn this so I can, oh shoot, wait a minute. I need to be able to see this. This is why the poor and the working poor, they're underemployed and underpaid, little access to higher education. Basic living expenses may be impossible or difficult to obtain. They mostly have debts from predatory lending services such as cash advances and things like that, which is why people, when they get their taxes, they go and buy cars that won't make it past 6 months. Debt from predatory lending, chronic lack of healthcare, food, and other necessities, frequent involuntary moves, chaos and disruption of life. These women are always going from house to house to house. People sleeping on people's couches and trying to, targeted and incarcerated disproportionately by the state generally and specifically through systems like child vagrancy laws, immigration enforcement, and money cash bail. Intellectual and artistic, here it is. Intellectual and artistic and labor contributions are frequently stolen, co-opted, and made invisible in dominant society. which means that over here I can keep you creative, which is why a lot of times women get involved in the church and they can make Easter baskets. They can decorate the event halls. They can make corsages. They can make websites. But when you are in classes where you don't see a lot of money rolling in, a lot of times people escape and create. Creation is rooted in escapism, which is why a lot of times your best singers are in the poor class. Your best dancers are in the poor class. They'll get on TikTok and get 2 million followers just by dancing, but won't make a dime and be on food stamps. They can make you a bomb website. This is approximately 20% of the population. A lot of people are stuck in impoverished classes. However, these people over here that you're preaching to over on the other side of town behind gated communities, they own multiple homes. They're conservative. Did y'all hear what I said? Okay. Their education is rooted in private institutions and elite schools. They receive inheritances. They're all about social status. They're all about connecting with like-minded people that can introduce them to somebody else that's going to move. Like, that's what I'm saying. Down here, you don't have access to resources. So their gospel is going to be rooted in victory. Because you don't have to keep them suppressed. These are your heavy tithers. These are your principal wealth builders. These are your people that's going to give to nonprofits. But they also have secret lives. Okay. They over here do a lot of the things that they tell these people not to do, but because they have to keep them in a space of fear. When you are empowered and you already have victory and you already walk in a victorious mindset. And when I say victorious mindset, I'm not talking about victorious like, oh, I feel free, I feel good. No, I'm talking about victorious as in you're living in a conquered mindset, that because you are top tier, quote unquote, you are at the top of the food chain. You can get away with things that these people cannot. Because everything is going, you're in an advantage, as about these people are not. So this is why you have to be very careful of the information that you're being fed. You're not being, you know, you're not being fed information that's going to get you to the next level. Makes sense. So this is why there's hardly ever any enlightening going on over here. This is why also I have an issue with people that say, oh, I'm woke, but now what? Now what? You woke up. Now what you gonna do? Because now that you know this information, which is also like I live in Memphis, right? And anybody live in Memphis, already know what I'm about to say. Memphis has an abundance of Black pastors and Black churches. Okay. But it's also considered one of the top 5 in crime in the United States. I think this is kind of off. Okay. We have an abundance of churches, abundance of pastors, abundance of ministries. I mean, literally, there are 5, 6, 7 churches on one street. If you come to Memphis, if you're in Memphis, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you come to Memphis, you want to visit at some point, which I don't know why would you want to. But if you come here, I mean, Memphis is who is for. I grew up here, but then I left and went to Houston and stayed for 11 years, came back. But here in Memphis, there is literally a church on every corner, just like a McDonald's. I mean, it's very prevalent here. I mean, if I wanted to shut down my business, say I'm gonna start a church, I would be well received, and I would probably have members. Okay, churches, however, in very volatile communities, you got to understand, like, what are we being preached over here versus over here? Absolutely, because it's working in an institution. There is a system in place. There's a system in place. And when there's a system in place and there's no upward mobility, they have to keep people poor for a reason. Don't you know? I remember one time, this was years ago, probably 2020, 2021. I remember I emailed, I don't know how many pastors in Memphis, and said, you know, I would love to come and do a free workshop at your church about business, about entrepreneurship, and how to get your business started, just free. I'm not even expecting anything. You know, I may bring like maybe a course or something just to give people, you know, something they can carry with them. But like literally, I just, you know, free of charge for your congregation. And I did not get not one response. I got a lot of people to open it, but I did not get one response. And and after a while, after getting over my emotions, because I thought it was just so crazy to me, like, why wouldn't you want your congregation to be inspired? Because it is known that when people get free, a lot of them leave because there is no path to a greater within that system. And they have to keep, this is why I'm trying to get y'all to understand. This is not like I'm trying to be because first of all, I love God. I want to make sure that's very crystal clear. I love God. I just don't subscribe to the God that is preached in this system. The Protestant Christian church has done a horrible number on the mindsets of people of color in this country. And I think that and we're still doing these things and we're not questioning. And I think that's the thing, that they just keep going because it keeps people in a system. Oh, Sasha. Mm, 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 mm. Oof. Mm, mm, mm. And that makes me really sad. That's why I'm taking time out to process what you're saying, because let me read what she said for replay's sake. Sasha said that my mom asked me to speak at her church last year about my business, which she does fibroids, y'all. She helps people with fibroids. She says so many women in the church have fibroids. Do you know not one person picked up my business card? Not one. Holistic healing, and things of that nature is always seen as, you know, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why can't you just go to the doctor? Girl, don't anybody just go to your doctor, but not understanding the system. And this is the thing which makes it very troublesome. And it also grieves my spirit, is because we don't like being responsible. And we don't look at the responsibility. We don't even look at the self accountability. We have to go somewhere and have someone else tell us what to do instead of being guided. And people don't want to be guided. They want to be instructed. That's a difference. You know, there's a difference between guidance and instruction. I know they put them in the same pot, but there's a huge difference between being guided towards and being instructed to do. And this is what I'm trying to tell y'all is that my work is rooted in guidance. My work is guided, is showing. My work involves you thinking on your own, because there's going to come a time where you can't call on anybody. I'm going to Sharita what she said. I missed your comment, Sharita. She said, yep, this is what happened to me, my husband. Once we got free, we left. People wonder why we left. It's very it's very sad, for lack of a better word, that people, and then they will gaslight you into thinking that it's church hurt. And I've seen this so many times, like, oh, why can't you just find another church to go to? Or why can't you just, you giving up on God? You don't love God anymore. Like, you're not saved anymore. Like, you're not a Christian anymore. And I think those kind of questions are heavily rooted in triggering you, because it gives you the reason, like, you have to explain. But explaining something of an advanced level to someone who thinks that you left because you were hurt by something. And because I have reached the level of I'm good. I there's nothing else for me to learn here, because you're not elevating the consciousness of the people around you. The whole message is personal opinion. It's not rooted in laws, and it's not rooted in systematically getting people into a space where they are learning and growing in their faith. Like getting people to come to the altar every single Sunday to be prayed for, instead of learning how to pray for yourself, learning the prayer, and being able to go within to get their prayers answered. That is dependence. This is it. Like, if you look, and I've noticed, like, even in the church, I've noticed that Jesus's teachings are not as taught as they do with Paul. And I don't know why I'm going this direction, because I need to come back and talk about what I said I'm going to talk about today. But I'm going to say this. I noticed that something was different and off, because the teachings of Jesus is rooted in, like, going within and learning, watch what I'm doing, and then you go do it. You go do it. See what I'm doing. Watch how I'm healing people. Watch how I am talking to people. And then you follow. Watch how I touch the Father, how I communicate with the Father, and then you go do it. And people will equate you not coming to church with you not talking to them. Oh, well, she's left the church. So that keeps you from showing up and calling me to see if I'm okay. There are people that equate, yes, what Sasha just said. She said we don't talk enough about how the Black church has always caused a lot of trauma in the Black family. My grandma isn't talking to me right now because I told her I don't subscribe to what their church says about God. And she was enraged and told me I think I'm better than God and need to be careful. And that's somebody who, and this is no shame to your grandma, and I know you know this, but that it lowers the ability to think critically. They don't teach that part. They don't teach implied context. They don't teach, okay, why do you feel that way? I would love to know. I'm just curious. And then not listening from a state of like, I'm ready to respond to you and challenge you, but really seek to understand. And that's what critical thinking is. Critical thinking is I'm seeking to understand what you're saying and not trying to create a response as you're telling me to challenge you. Because some people don't know how to think actively and listen actively. Because when you listen actively, you can understand the person's point of view and or ask questions that provide deeper insight so that you can answer accordingly. No, some people listen only to think of a response to challenge what you're saying. And these are people that lack critical thought because their biggest thing is that I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you because I need something to control. I need something to be mad at. I need to have something to be upset with and to judge you for, right? To judge you for. Absolutely. And I think families that are heavy indoctrinated into this system, they tend to partner their identity and their worth and their relationship with you in relation to their relationship to the church. I hope you caught what I just said. Yes, Kristen, she said that he said we will go and do greater works. Absolutely. I think I talked about that the other day, where Jesus said, you're going to go and do better than me in so many ways. You're going to go and do greater works than I. You're a joint heir. You have a royal priesthood. So in that case, like, I don't understand why we don't think that we have the same or even greater ability as Jesus. And Jesus said this. This is what the red, look, back in the King James Version, this is what he said in red wording. And I remember when I left the institution, no one checked on me. No one called. And not saying I'm bitter about it. Now, I was bitter at first. I'm not going to lie to you because that's before I really started to do the inner work on myself. But it used to hurt me greatly when I didn't hear from family. I didn't hear from friends. I didn't hear from people that, you know, I used to volunteer with and do community events with and things like that when I decided to leave. And people didn't check on me. They didn't see how Maddie was doing. They just said, you just left the church. Like, I don't understand. And it's like, can y'all see if I'm okay? And how are things? Let's go to lunch or but completely stop. Stop interacting on my page. Stop interacting on my, my posts and things like that. Now that was at first, but then I understood the system because I started to learn what the system was all about. And indoctrination is very, very important to keep the system in the class situation. I became the black sheep of my immediate family at 9 years old because of questioning pastor in my family church. I can't tell you how many times I was told to shut your mouth or like shut your mouth. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I said, I love my family, but they refuse to believe anything outside of what the pastor said. Yes, my family is heavily indoctrination within the black church they attended, and it's almost how the whole, to be better thinkers and doers. The caste system, absolutely. Kristen and Sasha too. I think this also bleeds into business. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think that some like women mean well, right? And women have a tendency to think. And when I hear especially black women say this, and I can't speak for all women, I can't speak for all women if I wanted to, but I'm going to go even deeper because as a black woman, I think we have other issues in our collective than we do in other collectives. But the one thing that kind of chaps my hide with us, especially with the heavy indoctrination, is that, and I don't want anybody to take offense to this, and I love you, but I do believe that there's instances where we don't move in accordance to, like, you can have God and build a successful company. I don't think that we understand that you can do both. And when I say do both, I'm talking about scaling. I'm talking about operations. I'm talking about having a actual machine with boundaries and showing. And I think this is what irritates me. And please do not take this again. I probably got to do some inner work on this myself or do something. But I think it triggers me to the core to see women who say they're Christians and Christian entrepreneurs. Why do you have to do that? And then say, I help women of faith to do this. Well, I'm gonna tell you why this stopped your bag. Because you're only limiting yourself to a sector of people. I think it is much more beneficial to your faith to actually open up your business. Now, yes, you can talk about God. You can talk about the scriptures in your content and things of that nature so that you can bring people in and people already know what you're talking about. But I am not going to close my doors to someone who believes differently than me. What I am going to do is just be a light. And if that person inquires of my light and asks me about my light, I'm going to tell them exactly what my light and why I am shining so brightly about. I'm not saying that my light is better than yours, okay? Because I'm not even saying that either. But you have got to allow some people to see something greater in you and bigger than you, except besides the people that you feel comfortable talking with and helping. Because I think that's the challenge too, is that women tend to, especially in that sector, in that market, women tend to only serve Christian women because they're only used to talking to people in a basic language. These women don't go anywhere. I have yet to see, and I'm being very honest, and if that is something that I need to see, you please tag me. But I don't see Christian entrepreneurs talking about their results and how they exponentially scale someone's business. I don't see Christian business coaches doing that. I never see it. I always see them saying, "Oh, this person was so empowered. Oh, I love being a part of your membership or your program." But what results did they achieve on a tangible level? I don't ever see that. Like I'm okay with you feeling encouraged. I'm okay with you feeling inspired. But if I am not expanding your business, if I am not helping you scale, that is a problem. And it's given supremacy. And I love everybody. And I want everybody to do well. I have had women of all different faiths come into my programs over the years. Oh, we drew. She said, I had a friend focus on only married people, then she divorced, and now she's stuck and can't figure out to rebrand. Not understanding, not understanding, she can still serve them, but capacity feels good to her because there are women that are dating and courtship coaches that are not married. You just got to know how to navigate the messaging and know what you're doing. You just got to have results. Ooh. Mm. Let me go up. I love that. She said, Kristen said a Muslim purchased my painting the other day and she was so inspired by me. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not going to cut my gifting and my calling and my talent and skills off when that can like expeditiously stop your influence in the world. You got to understand social influence. No, she ain't ready. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I think it's just the fact that they said it's almost like they want to limit their clients for their beliefs, and it's an indoctrination all over again. It's to keep women in a space of basic thought and keeping them energetically or emotionally charged, but tactfully they're not moving. And so even when it comes down to doing business and to have a business acumen, a lot of them don't even know how to approach people to sell to them that they don't even know that's outside of their systematic groupthink spaces. So it keeps them from having conversations outside of them, outside of their normal collectives, because they don't know how to have conversations other than church. They don't know how to do that. Like I get people all the time saying that, God bless you, sister, and I got a prophecy, I got a word from the Lord about you. How do you know I'm open to that? I don't even know who you are. And Christians weren't even formed until after Jesus left here. That's another thing. He was a Palestinian Jew. Sasha said that every faith-based coach I see never focus on the result. They're so focused on giving you the basic faith practice. God has become the trend. I'm sorry. God is monetized. That's what I don't understand. I really don't understand that God is monetized. We got to be careful of that. You can't monetize God. You can monetize spiritual gifts, but you can't monetize a deity. Huge difference. God is not concerned about your money. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And then when you find out that the Bible is the sales goes to the crown, that's a whole different conversation. No, nobody want to talk about that. They don't want to bring that up. They don't want to bring that up. The funds, yeah, look it up. It goes toward this. The copyright is owned by the crown. The Holy Bible, the King James Version. So every time you buy a King James Bible, baby, you are supporting the crown. Anyway, Kristen said yesterday I had lunch with people from India and we ate like a community and no one was trying to convert anyone. And that's the thing. Like, absolutely. I'm not here to push you into a system because people tend to go towards people that have limited problem solving acumen. If you look at even the conversion system, they tend to go to the hood. Tend to go to impoverished spaces because it's easier to tell people that the disdain in your life and the poverty in your life and the problems that you're having in your life is because of a result of your sinful nature. It's easier to convert people that think that their misfortune and their lack and the situation that they're in is because of them than it is to convert a millionaire who has done the work on themselves and knowing that they control their own reality. See, business is not just that food over there, boo. And it's soft food over there. See, business is not just making money and closing sales. Business is also about connection, building relationships. And a lot of people just do not. And that's why even building relationships is going downhill when people don't even realize that you're building relationships and you develop a clientele where relationships are the core. It's the core. So I have a much better experience as a business owner when I build relationships. And this is why you have a lot of people that have to put several paywalls. They have to put several tiers between them and the talent and the skills because they don't want to build relationships with you. They only want to get to the money. I see that in spa professionals. I see that in hairstylists. I see that in certain coaches. Like a lot of them don't want to coach. They don't even want to be seen but once a month. That's not coaching. That's getting people into spaces where they just have access to maybe a course, but there is no information that's really being shared that's going to help that client to get to the next level. Which is why sometimes I tell people that coaching is not for you to like I'm a professional coach. So there's a difference between just a coach out here that's just, I got 200 people in my mastermind or I got 500 people in my group coaching program That's not serving the client adequately to me. I don't even know what are the pain points. Like, I know the pain points at a surface, but why is this client not getting why is this client not getting the results that they want, but these people are? And once I understand why they are not, but they are, then I can understand what this person is going through. Let's shift so that we can get you to the result. But I can't do that with 500 people in my container. Yes, the payments will come in quite bountifully, absolutely. But you also can crash your nervous system. I think some people don't realize that part. So we got to be very careful. Babe, that's a great question. So the biggest thing for me, because there's so many answers to that. She said, what is a good question to ask for vetting out a coach to like to see their credibility? I think the credibility is all about the results. Just like you would, like, for example, I always equate winners to the results. So when you look at the NFL, I'm a huge NFL buff. I love NFL, or college football. And when they're looking for coaches to take over a team, right? A head coach, assistant coach, or whatever. First thing they go to is their results. Not only in their personal careers per se, but in their career to be a coach. Like, what have they been able to do? What championships have they won? How many people did they inspire? What is their character? Right? But the most important thing is results. This is why I'm not tight when it comes down to social proof. I share social proof. I got so many pieces of social proof. Now that's me. I don't get into the brand of the person per se. I know some people do, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? I just love the fact that if I know somebody has a style of coaching that I like my first coach, my first business coach, she was no nonsense. Like, she didn't play about our tears. She didn't really care. I needed that coming from an emotional woman who cried at the drop of a hat. I needed somebody to stay on me. But as a result of following her in her guidance, I was able to reach significant pillars and milestones in my business as a result of her guidance, right? So, I think the receipts are everything. Like, I don't care about the pretty. I'm different. I don't care about the Gucci belts. I don't care about how long your lace front is. I don't care about how amazing your makeup is. I don't care how tight you fold your arms and the yellows and the pinks and the greens and the purples. I really don't care about that. First of all, two things that I go off of. I do go off of results. That's number one. What are they doing? And the methodology. That's another thing, I'm sorry, that I didn't put into the answer, is their method. Their method has to agree kind of with my principles and values. I'm really big on relationship building. I'm really big on relationship-based sales. I don't do ads, okay? I tell people that straight up. I don't do ads. If you want to do ads, you can go somewhere else. I know my lane, and I like the lane I'm in. I get people to a skill set so that if or not the ads are not adding, you can go and revert back to sales. You will never, ever, 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 ever be without, if you will, if you learn the skill set of sales, messaging, and content. Like, this is long form content. This piece of content can be chopped up in 10, 15, 40 different ways. This can also be a masterclass. This can also be a course. I teach a skill set, and then if they decide to, my clients move on to other sophisticated levels of marketing as they scale. Thank you, Sasha. She said, one thing I love and why I wanted to be coached by Jay is because she had receipts. I don't care about your testimonials or what they say. There are people said, where are your receipts? Absolutely. Like, I don't even get, now, this is me again. Even if I see somebody say, oh my gosh, like I didn't get any results from her, I always search for people that did because I don't know their story. Now, if I see everybody saying they're thinking of results from that person, I'm like, okay, let me curve. But if this person is saying, like, not only did I get results, but I also got a chance to learn how to do this, because I also deal with the psycho-emotional part of the woman too, which is why it's called the matriarch CEO. It's the woman who's going to be the dominant person in the family that's going to be possibly heading up the wealth trajectory of her family, even if it's immediate. But I'm training her how to be a CEO and to make her own decisions about her business. Now, of course, I'm the advisor, the guide, coaching and things like that. But then I move this woman into a space of self-sufficiency and self-trust, self-concept, which is very, very important in business. It's not just about getting on live, but you got to be building as well, right? And if they're joined, if you join the Matriarch CEO coaching program, I am running kind of like a little campaign where if you join, you actually get to stay with us until December 31st of this year, which means pretty much the end of the year. And we were able to enroll, me and these lights, we were able to enroll, 3 people last week, I believe, into the Matriarch. One more question. She said, what type of coach should I look forward to help me with putting my skills towards life? Well, it depends on what type of skills you're talking about, because you have life skills and then you have business. So if you are looking to, if you need a life coach with trying to understand emotional skills so that you can get better at emotional intelligence and things of that nature, that's probably going to be more of an emotional intelligence coach or a boundaries coach. If you need a boundaries coach, I have a client that does that. She's very good at it. Now, if you're talking about business and your skills, work skills, professional skills, and move that into a business structure, right? Package that intelligence and sell it, that's a business coach or business strategist. And it also depends on your level of audacity. Like if you just want to learn a little bit and just need, because you don't have the bandwidth or the cost or the investment to go full throttle, then I would strongly recommend that you get like a course or something like that, or come into a mastermind situation. I mean, not mastermind situation, like an intensive situation. But if you're trying to transform your life, that is a transformational business coaching program, which is what I run, but I also run intensives and I have courses. Beyonce going up. I love you. Ah, this crazy dog. This is Beyonce. Okay. Don't back up this. I didn't get a spoon. Bad. She bad. Anyway, absolutely. I have my link in the caption too. Um, wait a minute, what? Sasha? I just got a new client who's visiting Africa right now, investing my 5,000. What? Sasha, that's amazing. Congratulations. Did we have this conversation? Did we have this conversation? It was coming. It was coming. Sasha is a second year matriarch in my program. Yeah, she's getting big and she's bad. Anybody want to? I'll take a Starburst and $1. Okay, she's so bad. I'm so proud of you. Very good. Congratulations, Sasha. Yeah, and I have to put that program together. She's another one. Like all my clients are not on here, but some of them that are, and I've helped them, like help them put their program together. Some of them were kicking and screaming. Oh no, they got it, no. I had all kinds of. One thing I ain't scared of, I am not scared of y'all. I love you. You probably gonna throw up. You're probably gonna cry. You're probably gonna hang up the phone on me. I've had clients I gotta go. And then they'll come back and be like, you were right. I'm like, no, that's why y'all pay me. Okay, so basically we did not go over revenue generating activities today, but I will say this. I will say this. We're gonna close up with this because I guess this is gonna be a multi-topic live. Um, what time is it? Ooh, we've been on for almost one. What I'm going to do, I'm going to end this live. If you want to stick around and come back, I'm going to, because I want to do this one. I got to do this one. If you are not like, if you're like, Jay, I didn't have enough today. Thank you so much. And then I'm going to come back in 30 minutes and do this revenue generating thing because this needs to be talked about. This was the original reason why I stopped on here, but I'm gonna leave this up because this was good too. Sasha, she said about Jay's writing course. Yes, the digital lead her writing course. Y'all, I don't put courses together for my health. Like it's a tooth and a nail to get me to do a course, baby. But when I do them, I make sure that there is an outcome attached to that thing. Okay. No, Kristen, that you're fine. No, you're good. This was spiritually ordained. So I'm not like, but I gotta talk about this because this was on my docket and I gotta get this out. But Sasha says she closed on one home and the other we close next week. I'll be in the coaching container very soon. I am so excited. Yes, I would love for you to join. That you would be fantastic for the matriarch. But I'm gonna come back. Let me see what time it is. Okay, it's almost 10. So 10:30. I'm gonna come back and we're gonna talk about revenue generating activities. Um, so yes, 30 minutes, go take a bathroom break, and we will come back and we will talk about revenue. All right. Love y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming. Bye.